Alrighty then. Welcome. Welcome to the best week of the year, baby. The best holiday of the year, the best week of the year. July 4th. The market has now reversed every bit of Friday's big rejection sell and have now gone even higher. ES is 6240. NASDAQ has already put a new all-time high in, 22,875, I believe, is roughly up there. We've got a shortened holiday week. Obviously, everyone knows the market's closed Friday. If you didn't know, the market closes early on Thursday. So we've about a 3.5, maybe 3.65% holiday week. And there's no really signs of this thing stopping other than the gamma levels here on the S&P. We have Jay Powell speaking on yet another presser. Probably won't be all that much. A little shaking and baking, but all that not much. We have rate cuts priced into September. Price September. I went to a birthday party for my daughter this weekend, and I was talking to. It was beautiful. Like it is pool party at this really old, like late 1700s home that they had bought and renovated. And I was talking to the guys, like, hey, how do you own like 200 acres with this gigantic, Revolutionary War home? And he's like, oh, I own a bank. I own actually a couple of banks, and we're talking about banking. I was like, oh, cool. Well, I'm investing. I was talking to him about trading and whatnot, and investing. And he says that for the first time in 15 years, it's becoming incredibly difficult to find qualified buyers for homes. And the housing market is really starting to pull back. They're starting to see basically the only houses and loans being closed right now are sub $400,000 homes, which are not much. So it's either that or the only homes selling are plus 2 million. So the people that don't need loans that are just paying cash for $2, $3, $4 million houses. So I was interested. I was interested to see someone straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, that the housing market is feeling a little pain. And they're all pricing, and all that to say is that they're all expecting and projecting rate cuts not to happen until October, at the end of the year, which I probably think is pretty accurate. This old man turned 41 yesterday. Nice. Happy belated birthday. Market's about to open here. Tesla is holding 324.85. I'm going to keep an eye on them this week. I posted a couple of charts down in the SIG. We're going to go from there. Last week was a absolutely beautiful week. Absolutely beautiful week. Because to me it was a great participation, a great execution week, given the price action. So I took very few trades last week, and it worked out perfectly. My goal this week is take even fewer trades and even higher quality entries. That's always the goal, is to get better. Let's see what happens here. We are opening right on top of a major gamma zone, so I could foresee some selling here, which we already are. I didn't even realize the market was open because y'all aren't even talking. But 6250 here up in this area, I do think that is the major rejection zone in this area, at least for today's session, not macro, because we're opening right on top of the biggest and major options resistance, which is the gamma strike up here of the week. Let me get the YouTube started. Boom. There we go. We are live. There we go. Hero indicator out of the gate is showing put buy and call selling, as we've had a major recovery from yet Friday's lows. $6240.75 dropping back over. NASDAQ is large sweeping red candle. Going to take things easier. We do have a shortened holiday week, so you have to expect a little bit of wonky behavior, but I still think overall the bulls will end up winning out after this morning rejection here. Just always look to buy the dip until it fails. Still coming off here at 62.39. IV is very low, obviously. Options positioning is not pricing at a big move, obviously. Looking around 62.20 for a long opportunity, 32.85 for gold. Beautiful, McGurky. Appreciate it. 22,827 still coming off here overall. It's about a 50-point drop on NASDAQ. And ES did it again. That means I have to mute that thing real quick and hit calibrate 6240. There's not really much else to analyze on this chart, even on a longer time frame. I mean, this is obviously ridiculously bullish. Some of the strongest V recovery I think has ever occurred after such a drawdown. So very difficult to price in anything other than just major bullishness, of course. 6,200 is beautiful. Have all boxes checked for my eval except number of days traded. Beautiful, Kennedy. Congratulations, well done. Speaking of evals, Take Profit Trader has announced that they're doing a 40% off for life, by the way, eval. So if you use the code, that you'll get 40% off for life. Even if you happen to blow up and reset, you'll still get 40% off for life, plus no activation fee. Pretty awesome. Daily payouts. What's up, YouTube? Middle class has been gutted. No surprise I can't sell homes. They're overpriced. Rates are far too high. Yep, you're very right. You're very correct. Very correct. No more such thing as a middle class, really. How would you read the 1077 order sitting at 6246? That, to me, obviously they're chasing liquidity down, is a signal for supply. So, like I said, I do think they're going to have a little bit of a drop here at the open. Coming on down, probably 6220 or so after they fill this. So they're going to see they're chasing this order flow down. It was 6257. They've taken off. They've rolled down to 42, which is one of the largest blocks of liquidity I've seen in a while. So the 40% off for monthly fee are all costs associated with the account. That's the only cost associated with the account. So once you pay that, obviously you'll have to pay that every 30 days until you get funded. You pay that up front, and there's zero cost for funded. That's what I'm saying. Take Profit Trader, there's pros and cons, but the biggest pro is it's the lowest cost of entry to get into a funded account. You pay the initial fee, and that's it. There is no funded fee, nothing. Whereas like Top Step, it's like 300 something bucks depending on which account you do. And that's for life. 6238 coming off here. They still can't grab that 42. VIX, once again, at the pivot. I've been very adamant since, I don't know, October, that the lowest the VIX is going to go is roughly 17. Roughly 17. And it's still holding true. Upper 16s, lower 17s right in this area. They're bouncing back up. ES is still having a little bit of drawdown. So no monthly fees? Nope, not after you pass the eval. Daily drawdown is still in effect. For the eval account, yeah, once you go pro, they actually take that away if you use this code. It's the end of day drawdown like it is with Top Step. It's funny that I followed the rules of the eval so closely that I become more profitable. Funny how that works, Kennedy. I've traded less overall and waited more patiently. That's what I did last week. Last week was probably one of the more enjoyable weeks I've had in a while, simply because of that fact. I took very few trades, and if y'all saw on stream that we actually destroyed a lot of those trades. It was great. Gold was fantastic. Oil was fantastic. It was great. The only one I didn't take was platinum, which I wish I would have. That would have been the biggest payer of the week if I traded platinum. Can't trade news on eval, but funded. Correct. Which I wouldn't recommend anyway. None of you need to be trading news anyway. So I think that's a helpful. It's only 1 minute before and 1 minute after, then you can trade, which I think you should not be even touching a trade in that time anyway. So there you go. 6242. What's up, Sam? There's the code for Take Profit Trader. We are bouncing back up here, 6241. $62.47 here. They're back. See, this guy's chasing liquidity here, so it's a little wonky. That, to me, looks a little bit like some trailing, maybe trying to get out of this liquidity before a little morning drop. Overall, I'm still sticking to the same exact strategy, which is chilling. Oil here, if you look on the daily, is still showing signs of absorption for lower prices. These candles here is showing weakness. So we have a very large drawdown on oil right here. In fact, let me switch over my screen on change stream. All right, so if you take a look here, is that oil has had a massive sell-off right into our major resistance. And then we've had doji, 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 and today so far, yet another doji on low volume. So we are not showing signs of bullishness yet. Toy trades made 50K on that drop. Nice. Apparently I gotta trade trend lines. So Doji here 62.57, and then down into 63.70. Once it starts taking out this area, I'm going to look for a 63 touch for another bounce, but so far this looks like bearish absorption for me on oil. Gold, still respecting our 32.60. This is a level I played on Friday. I told you all that once we tapped 32.60, I was going to hammer the buy button so hard I was going to break my keyboard. I did that, although I didn't break my keyboard, and it paid off very, very well. They flushed it again this morning, bounced it back up. I'm going to continue to watch that area here for a possible move, but so far they're still defending this area very well. This is now the 1, 2, 3rd, 4th time they've defended this level, so keep an eye there for gold. Next trade I'm going to be looking for that's non-futures related is Tesla. Tesla wants to go lower, and once it does breach this, puts down to 270, baby. Puts down to 270. Did you see that they have officially revoked? I think, I forget when it's going to go into effect, the Tesla EV fees, or the EV credits. So yeah, buddy. I'll be back in the Discord soon. Beautiful, Sam. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. September 1st, there you go. How about the Idaho situation? I didn't see the Idaho situation. I was in that gold trade Friday and traded through it and lost my funded futures elite. What do you mean you traded through it? I just want to know her position size. Here's the thing about that chick, if she's actually legit, is that her system, from what I've seen, very little bit of her content, is she trades, what, trend lines and multiple trend line breaks? That's incredibly simple, which you could say it's almost too simple where it's a bunch of crap. Meh. But I would go forward to say is that if she is that profitable and things are working well for her, it shows you and highlights how simple trading can actually be. It's just really position management and structure management of the market. That's it. Just set your setup, take your trade, take your hands off, and do less. Just do less. And the market actually trading is not all that difficult. But when you're trying to trade 50 times a day on every little pivot and stressing yourself out, that's when things become difficult. So, yeah, good on her. Emotions, 100%, man. I've always been a believer that emotions are the big part of trading, but after running this Discord now for 4+ years, I think it's all about emotions. I would say 99.9% of trading is all emotions. 1.1% is actually learning how the candles and price action. You get in your own way, and I've never believed it more than I do now. Never believed it more than I do now. I got in the trade the same time you did Friday morning and held it until we got stopped and went through 9 a.m. news, so I broke the rules. Isn't that what Turtle Traders did? Gap and go? I don't know. I've never traded that one. What's the level to break on Tesla? Let's go take a look. Tesla, right here, this red line, this red block. So this whole block's 320 to 317, which is a very small block. Once we start absorbing that and going lower, I would play down to 303. Once it takes that out, we're going to 270s. So far, ES is still holding up here, 62.40. No additional trades for me. I don't understand how that Tory Trades chick holds her position so long if she traded like platinum and gold. I mean, she sets her rules from what like I said, I've never consumed any of her content other than what y'all have kind of forced upon me. But it just appears that she's just giving her thesis and setting a stop, which is, in my opinion, what you need to do. I give a lot of crap to people who phone trade, and that's really only for scalping. But if you're doing longer term trades, like trying to hold a thesis for multiple days, phone trading is just fine. In fact, in some cases, may be beneficial because it's going to force you to kind of not sit there and stare at the charts and every little candle and simply go about your day. And I think that's, set your thesis. That's why the signals channel, hopefully, is drawing some value to you, because this signal channel, admittedly, has been fantastic. And it's not always going to be that fantastic. Last week was pretty incredible, I'm not going to lie. It's the best channel you've ever seen. Some people say it's the best they've ever seen. And it's not always going to be that perfect. But the point is that if you could look in the 4 hour plus, look for these major pivots and simply take a trade, and just take your hands off, things work out pretty well. The big beautiful channel. Yeah. What's the signals channel? Inside the Discord, I offer a signals channel where I post setups, and you can either take them or not. But they're high quality setups. Last week was 100% hit rate. It was beautiful. Again, it's not always going to be that great, but quality. 62.38 here. We are going to drop back over. Still can't grab that 62.47. We have data at the top of the hour. We are not inside my trading zone yet, which happens in another 60 seconds. 2 firefighters dead in ambush. The suspect's been found dead after firefighters were killed with a high-powered weapon. Why do they kill firefighters? Out of all the government, that's who you're going to target is firefighters. It's like the only good government people are firefighters. Jeez Louise. Do you do any workshops on how do you set your SR? Apparently I'm a little rusty. I did do an SR workshop, as you can call it, on the Tier 2 channel. It's in the Tier 2 Zoom call a log. But, we're going to focus more and more on that as content rolls out. I thought futures settled every day. Nope. If you're trading prop firms, you do have to close out every day. But if you're not, if you're on a personal account, you can hold futures as long as you go through the expiration. And everything expires differently. Like the S&P expires every 3 months. So you can hold a futures contract on the S&P, for example, for 3 months until it rolls over into the next contract. So in that case, yes, they do settle, and you have to reopen. But as long as you're not holding through expiration, you can hold that future as long as you can. Now they are mark to market, so it will affect your leverage and your balance, but you can still hold them. $62.40 still back and forth here. We just absorbed that final liquidity here, so in my opinion, that could open up a little bit of a drawdown for the morning session. Only for the morning session. What are the options doing? Options are very put heavy. 500 million puts, 96 million in calls. I'm waiting to hear back on getting some free accounts from TPT so I can start passing them out to you all. I'm thinking about how I'm going to go about giving those out. Just do a random Discord member, like pull from a hat, so to speak, and hand them out. Do I set up a channel of people who have had problems and blown up accounts who need another one? I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that. Well, all these little news bits, you kind of don't really care what they say, only if it trades into a range. 100%. Either a poll or rewarding people who share analysis. I think that's a great idea. People who actually interact and stuff. Yeah. It'll be for Discord members only. That's for show. For show. To ask your signal channel, do we need to become a member? Yes, you do. You need to be a member of the Discord. Tour has a very clear setup. People think it's fake because of how simple it is. See, that's the thing, man. I think I'm more likely to believe that you are honest if things are simple. The more complicated you are and the more technical jargon you use, the more full of crap I think you are. Because it's just trading is not overly complicated, and people use all these crazy words like models and all this crazy nonsense, and it's a bunch of crap. The simpler, the better. And honestly, who you are and how you present yourself is more indication of honesty than anything else. I've learned Leroy Jenkins is not a best mentor. No, it's not. All right, we're top and clicking back over here. We still haven't really gotten rid of the 62.42. That's my main indication right now. Tesla is still dojied out here. Look, you see them, they're trying to defend this area. ES is top looking back over. Let's see what we can do. If you're going to go with TPT, what's your recommendation for how to set up? What platform? Do you have an additional data fee? So it's the I don't use Rhythmic Data, at least not yet. I haven't started copy trading yet. I do want to get with this daily drawdown. It's very I've been on the fence with going with more accounts to do copy trading, but I think I'm going to try to go with 5 accounts and do copy trading. See if I can get it. If I can go on a win streak with 5 accounts, I could pay for multi-months income just by a couple of payouts on 5 accounts. So I may try it. Plus, have a little fun with it this summer. Yeah, so I would not recommend Tradeovate if you can avoid it. I like Quantower. The only drawdown is you can't access it anywhere else except your computer. But whatever, whichever you prefer. Honestly, they offer multiple different platforms. All right, so we're still top wicking here. I do think they are going to retrace a little bit here. I would like them to see that 42 absorb first. Not a lot of crazy price action here. NASDAQ is still drilling. RTY is still rejecting. Platinum is still showing beautiful signs of rejecting in this 1400 area, which we talked about, and I posted in the signals channel. Gold is still defending overall. So I don't have a lot of major pivots yet to play, which, that's going to be another thing about the signals channel. There's going to be some weeks where there's just simply nothing to post in there. Last week there were tons of targets all over the place, but I only want to post high quality stuff in there. High quality, not just 15-minute pivots. ES is still coming off here. Don't want to delete that. There we go. Oh, man. What's the blue to the right of the candles? To the right is called the volume profile. That is an indicator that shows how much volume at what price has been achieved. So you've got two ways to monitor volume. You've got, one second. You've got volume at price, or volume at time, I'm sorry, which is the red and green candles at the bottom. And you've got a volume at price, which is this histogram right here, which shows at what price do we have volume. So in my opinion, in the world of indicators, this is the number one indicator you can add to your chart, volume profile. It shows actual market structure. So it's not a calculation, it's not an equation, it's not a prediction, it's actual real data, which is why I don't really call it an indicator. It's just, it shows data. Still coming off here, slightly top wicked. TPT looks like my top step setup. I'm using TradingView. There you go. Yeah. U.S. Treasury Secretary says there will be a flurry of trade deals going into the final week before the July 9th deadline. So be ready for some tweets. Be ready for a lot of Trump pressers. They said the Fed made a gigantic policy mistake in 2022 on rates. Does TPT have a website option to trade like TopStep? They do not, although you can trade. You can trade on the website for Tradeovate and stuff like that without having to download the actual app. But no, they don't. TopStep, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think TopStep is the only one who's created like a proprietary web app for their own personal prop. I could be completely wrong on that. I'm just guessing, but I haven't heard of any others. Oh, man. So we've had a beautiful little 10-point open here. They're still defending. We have liquidity up to 62.50, 62.41. No trades for me yet. Nothing to entice me. I told you all that my goal this week is to take even fewer trades than last week. Tariff negotiation will be up to Trump. Tariffs could go back up if countries want to retaliate. We could go back to April 2nd tariffs. A lot of comments right now from the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Apex has their own trading platform. I did not hear about this. Still don't recommend. Wealth charts, that's theirs? Oh, okay. Would not recommend it still. Recalcitrant. Interesting. Oh, it's 40 years old. I just learned a new word today. Never in my life have I seen that word. Twizzy, he uses it. Nice. Where is Twizzy? Where's he at? Haven't seen him today. Does the new Apex trading platform video you were while trading? Yeah. Negative. NASDAQ 22,810 RTY. Platinum is still dropping. Gold's not doing much. I think gold, man, the gold chart. Not much going on today. Not a lot of setups. Not a lot to get me trigger happy. Bonds are still holding 87. I still can't wait to add more to that position. Tesla is still holding lows. Google's getting smoked. Put your ID before signing in. What do you mean? What are y'all talking about? Can you tell us about your TLT thesis? Yes, sir, I can. Or ma'am. Yeah, so my TLT thesis is long-term bullish. You know, the time to buy is when you're at low. The time to sell is when you're at the highs, relatively. TLT has been at the end of a historic bear market. The bonds have to go back up. They just have to. The only contradiction to my thesis would be if something new is coming down the pipeline with Bitcoin that's going to kind of reduce the impact of bonds, which would be generationally changing for the economy and the stock market. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen. However, I think bonds are going to go back up and going to go back up in a very big way in the upcoming 10, 12, 18, 24 months. I don't know when, I don't know how much, but it's going to go back up. And that's why I continue to dollar cost average into this. It pays dividends. It doesn't move much, so there's not a lot of stress to it. And I do think eventually it is going to go back up 120, 125, 130. So it's not a crazy amazing play. You're not going to make 1,000% on it. You're probably only going to make 15 to 30% on it at the most. I wouldn't put all my money in there. I would still trade the S&P and other names, but that is a product that you want to place some money in to get that huge upside swing when it actually does come. A little bit of diversification there. The bonds have never been down this far, this long, ever in history. And to me, that just screams buy. Why would I not want to buy that? What percentage of your long-term portfolio are you thinking? Right now, I mean, I haven't really allocated a certain percentage to it. I'm just talking about dollar amounts. I'm not. It's not something I would put a majority of my portfolio in. Although there's too many unknowns with that trade to put a huge precision of my portfolio in it. However, I would put a good chunk of position of your portfolio into it. I'll tell you this: my TSP, which is federal government 401k, and other civilian retirement accounts, I transitioned into the bonds and back out of the bonds at a key moments. So just to show that the bonds are a safety haven for when the market wants to draw down. I saw your volume profile on one of your YouTube videos in Project X, but in Project X it only offers volume profile fixed range or visible range. The visible range always look weird, but it's blue and yellow. Yeah, so the visible range you got to be careful because it'll change data as you scroll the visual range on the volume profile. So I prefer the fixed range for most of my analysis. Would you say the 15-minute NASDAQ volume is a decent long entry? I ignore the 15-830 volume because it opened, but it looks enticing. Yeah, so we did have a nice little hammer candle here on NASDAQ. If it holds it, I would look to long at least up to 22,840. You know, this week, set your nice targets. Yeah, it looks very bottom wicky. Beautiful. NASDAQ or ES does not necessarily look bullish, but NASDAQ does. I want to see a close over PDH. If it holds 5 minutes, I'll snipe along. Beautiful. ES is still top wicking. Very, very slow tight price action. Bottom wicking, nice. There we go. Climbing higher. Once we get over this 80.28, ES is there. There's ES going for that 43 liquidity finally, it looks like right here. No real liquidity higher here. However, there's none. Well, I got this little halo here, but there's nothing lower either. So ES still has a 62.41. I posted PL in the signals chat. I see PL posted in the signals chat. What levels are you looking for a bounce? If I'm looking for a major bounce on PL, which is still coming off here, by the way, let's go look at the 240. You're going to have your first target of 1332. So PL still has to defend this 1332. If we get through there, we're coming all the way down to 1260. So to me, I would still remain short in this position and give it a chance to break 1336 after two bounces. This one, call it 1330. It still has to break through this 1330, and once it does, you play down to 1260. But then, if you're not already short, that's a good indication to start getting short to 1260. If you are short, just roll your stops down, take your hands off. Forget about it. Forget about it. How's Hero looking? Hero right now is 570 million puts, 120 million of calls. So it's barely negative delta. Man, ES is still struggling with this liquidity right here. I have entered looking for signs on continuation PL direction before doing the deed. Beautiful. Yeah, it's slow. NASDAQ is 831. If they hold over this 828, that's when you can start looking for a half, even though they've already kind of done the half, and then up to 860 for a retest, 853 or so for a retest. But yeah, it's very, very slow. It's a holiday week. What's an example of key moments when you move to bonds? Well, the biggest and most obvious signal for a long bond play is if they're starting to see a lot of significant treasury-related stress on the economy and on the equities market, stock market. So if you start to see the rates cut, you start to see people flood into bonds and out of the equities, start to kill the equities to save the bonds, so to speak, you're going to start to see a lot of bottom wick, very green days. I'm talking 3, 4, 5% green days on TLT and the other bond products, and a lot of drawdowns on the equities. That's not going to be the only signal, but that's going to be the most obvious signal. You're going to start to see all the bond auctions that come every month. You're going to start to see the offerings start to be hit pretty hard on those. A lot of activity in the bond products. You're going to start to see signs of it. Not to mention getting in deeper into the rate cut environment, which will probably happen September, November, December timeframe. Even the Treasury today said that they're expecting you could see up to 4 cuts at the end of the year. And then, of course, something we've never experienced before, at least in our current environment, is an emergency rate cut. I don't think any of you, except the old timers, have ever traded through an emergency rate cut, which will induce extreme volatility. Be careful with Apex. They are asking traders to record their stream while they're taking trades. Yeah, Apex is complete garbage. I would not touch Apex with anyone's money because of that. Like, yeah, trading's already hard enough. Now I have to record my screen. Garbage. Why do you think they're so cheap? Because it's nonsense. It's like an overly controlling girlfriend. Like, I'm good. I'm good. You're welcome, stocks. Give me your location on your phone. Can I see your phone? What apps do you use? Are you sending messages in Facebook Messenger? Just kidding. What membership for Bookmap allows live futures data? For the futures, all of them do. Well, it depends what futures. If you're doing like the S&P, you need to have just the basic the basic plan. If you want to go more robust, more indicators, more names, you have to go with the Global Plus. Yeah. Are we expecting selling today? Not necessarily. Morning pressure is what I was looking for as we open right into the major gamma of 6,200 on SPX. And that's what we saw. I mean, we're not talking about major selling here. In fact, for me, the bulls are still hitting everything. They're still bottom wicking everything. We still have liquidity at 6,240. So could we see a little bit of minor selling today? Sure, yeah. But I'm still looking to buy the dip on everything until otherwise noted. Until conditions change. Remember, it's a shortened holiday week. The big cats, they're already in the Hamptons. They're already out on their, billion-dollar yachts having caviar licked off their toes. That's Mo. It is terrible raining. Yeah. Quantower only allows 2 indicators without licensing. Which do you recommend? Volume profile. The other indicator. Does that count for volume itself? Is that a free indicator, or does that count as well? The actual red and green volume bars? Oh, yeah. I would do those too. Volume itself is free. All right, so do that. Do volume profile. What's another one? What's another one? I don't know. I don't really use any other ones. I couldn't recommend anything else. On Bookmap, you might be able to add that on there. Look, another bottom wick on NASDAQ. This one should get us higher. This one should get us higher. RSI, yeah. Got any more of them tweets? Yeah, buddy. View app Golden Cross Dual. Oh my gosh. Very tight open so far. Yeah, Wall Street's taking early holidays. Yep. Yep. Platinum is testing. We have 1338 and then down to 1333 for possible scalp longs as a simple defense. Tomorrow is our Canada Day. Nice. What to do, what to do. All right, here comes 840, 853 to 860 on NASDAQ would be my first target. They take that. You can go for 890. Like I said, I wouldn't be too bearish in anything. Always look to buy the dips in this stuff. And just play it tight. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Do your thing. If we can close here, 860 on NASDAQ. Anyone have any fun 4th of July plans? I have my outfit ready to go. If y'all remember, if y'all went to the conference in Las Vegas, I bought a wig because I was going to play a joke on y'all. And I have that wig still. I'm going to wear it. Paddleboard down the river. Beautiful. Beautiful. I have my American flag overalls ready to go. Go hunting with it. I might get shot. I kind of look like a bear. All right, coming into 853 to 860. Very slow, but bullish. 62.45, liquidity still chasing higher. This cat's toying with us like a cat with a freaking laser toy. Sharks with lasers attached to their foreheads. Here comes the SR flip on NASDAQ, 853. Can we survive it? Can we survive it? Can we survive it? Coming up. Has anyone else taken payouts yet? Anyone having success? I want to hear more success stories. Got a whole bunch of success stories last week. Not yet. Beautiful. I want to know when it happens. Schwab pays me out daily. There you go. I don't know about you all, but firework prices have gone through the freaking roof. Is your code for 40% off now? It is. Yeah. 40% off. Get it. Do it. Lowest cost of entry of any company out there. I'm on the 99% still. I don't know what that is. Still in eval mode. There you go. Progress it, baby. Progress it. Looks like I will complete 5 days TPT today. Not quite the profit mark requirement for it. I had an emotional training on Friday and burned up a little of my profit I had accumulated, learning how to keep emotions in check. Do it, Matt. Hey, I'm here, man. If I am not, I promise you, I am not going to judge you if y'all make stupid mistakes for emotions. If you want someone to talk to, hit me up. That's what I'm here for. Trading could be a very lonely thing and a very frustrating thing where no one really understands. You got to get it out. You got to talk to someone. Talk to me, because I do not want to see y'all blow crap up because of emotions. Like that, I was talking to I forget who it was, man. I think I have like early Alzheimer's or something. I can't remember nothing. I was talking to someone last night that trading offers very little wiggle room for error. There's no margin of error. You cannot involve emotions. It's just there's no room for it. You can't say you traded on tilt this one time. You can't. Well, I'm maxed out position sizing. You can't do it. You've got to be absolute diligent. Every time you do that, you're saying to yourself, your future self, I don't care about you. I only care about me right now. I don't care about future me in the future. So you've got to be diligent, man. You got to be diligent. You can't break rules. You just can't. You just can't. Period. There's no other way for me to say it, is that if you're never going to be profitable if you break your rules. Posted that over 90% of their funded accounts do not last more than 48 hours. What does that tell you? The vast majority of their funded accounts do not last more than 2 days. What does that tell you? Yeah, it's a great business model. Yeah, I need to open up my own prop. The point is it's just everyone YOLOs. They get tied up in trying to trade 15 minis. They want the big $30,000 payout. It's just not going to happen. I'm sitting in a good profit position right now, and it's super hard not to just take profit and holding for the full move. Oh, just set a stop. Just set a stop. What's your entry, Odious? Odious? That tells me lasting 5 days means I've beaten. Yeah, 100%. That's why I say, if you're in a funded account, forget about the money. Instead, focus on, can you keep it open for 20 trading days, 30 days, 20 trading sessions. If you can do that, the profits will come. Profits will be incidental. You care about futures, me? That's right, Sam. You care about futures, Sam. A little bit of red. Coming back over 22,830. This is why I'm starting to see the benefit of copy trading several accounts. If that's what it takes to keep your position sizing small, then do it. Whose accounts don't last 44 hours? That's just Top Step released their stats, and they said that all of theirs, I don't know about the entire industry, but their funded accounts, that was their stats. What would you do with your profits from payouts? I personally put them into my BKR, and I'm funneling directly into TLT. That's what I'm doing with them. Used to be 90% would lose 90% in less than 90 days. Now it's less than 90 hours. Oh, yeah. Can you copy trade with TPT? Yes, you can. I'm still recovering from the last time Owen said he was about to break his keyboard smashing the pin on gold. Yeah. Uh-huh. Hey, that worked out pretty well. I could afford a new keyboard after that one. It's so hard when family asks, how's that trading going you've been doing for a while? They wouldn't understand. I'll be fighting myself to just walk off with a loss. This past months have been so much better after having a partner who I've shown my trades and shameful recapping her trades that make no sense when emotionally trading. I think I'm always to the point of just follow the rules and hey, do it. You have the decision. You can make the decision to finally turn the corner here. I can't guarantee you'll be profitable, but I can guarantee you can make better decisions and kind of trim things up. You make the decision, follow your rules, be done with it. Win the lottery, open up a prop firm, sip mimosas on the beach. I got to think that a high-quality prop firm is like the #1 business model in the world right now. It's insane. I would actually consider doing it if it wasn't so much red tape and nonsense. It would be a no-rules prop. Just trade. That's it. I'm using Rhythmic Data with Quant Tower. There you go. Yeah. Bottom wick here, back and forth. I'm going to monitor a couple other things. Tesla, keep an eye on Tesla. If I were you, in fact, it already triggered my first alert, but I would put an alert right here. That's exactly what I'm about to do. Add alert on Tesla. 317.69. Nice. I would add an alert there. If they take out that, it's time for puts. It's time for puts on Tesla. hitting me in the feels. Had 2 weeks profitable trading crew with my rules and came back against Friday and kablammed my profits. Blue funded. Was sick all weekend. I feel you, man, especially on Fridays. Doing that on Friday sucks. You have a bad weekend. Like, I get it, man. I get it. Does TPT max loss limit change per day? It does follow you until you buy up your drawdown. A little bit of red here. They still haven't filled this liquidity, but they pulled it completely now, and now they're coming back off. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? I think they have earnings next week. Nice. Oh, 722. Adding alerts to the levels you want, not look at them and charting more superpower. Yeah, kind of know what I'm doing here. Kind of know what I'm doing here. My weekend reset. Nice. Beautiful math. Now that is a win right there. Heck yeah, buddy. Room 10 shut. And all the move this past week, I've been going through all my old military stuff, like all my coins, all my flight suits, all my old patches. Makes me want to go back in, man. I miss it. I miss the structure. I'm like institutionalized. I'm like Red in Shawshank Redemption. I'm institutionalized. I need to find like a wall to write. Andrew was here. What do you think I've been saying? Definitely. I go through that every now and then. Yeah. I just got out too. I'm freshly out, and I already miss it. I had a few phenomenal trades earlier this year. Most profitable single trades in my personal. When I went present any set up my daughter and explained to her why I was about to enter the trade. Hey, if you can explain it to a kid, then it's probably a good trade. Now I do that every time she's around at home training. One thing kept me from entering on emotion. Turns out I know a little something. The logic has been going in my head. It's just emotion getting me in and out. I love it, Kennedy. Well done. Do you know if you had a partner sitting beside you, like talking through things, you would probably instantly become a better trader. Someone to smack you in the back of the head and say no. Bottom wick. Hero indicator, 900 million in puts, 180 million of sold calls. So aggressively negative deltas on the options chain here. Bottom wick back up. So there you go. My brother's wife bought him a charter fishing out of Lafayette, Louisiana for his birthday. I love to go fishing more. Just can't justify everything going on. Nice. That looks like a killer trip, man. Well done. Hey, where did Platinum is bouncing? Anyone take that scalp long off of 1338? I did not myself. Macro V's for me. I wouldn't mind a scalp long off 1333. Just a scalp long, and then after that still play down once it breaches. RTY still coming off. Gold not moving. Back and forth. Right here. You're long off 1339. Nice job. Nice. What else we got? 6130 is bottom side support, which is way outside of today's range. But 6200 still the main area. 6175 closest level on SPX where gamma turns negative. Bounce there or maybe come through. That's most likely a support area. Still coming off. Very terrible. Very tight session. I live in North Baton Rouge. I live north of Baton Rouge. I'd like to go kayak fish more, but it's about 2-3 hour drive one way. Oh man. What's your take on Louisiana? Living in Louisiana, how's the atmosphere down there? My brother-in-law is living. He's the one who owns a cabinet company that sold me the cabinets for my home, and they live in Louisiana, in New Orleans, just north of New Orleans. And he said they're leaving. They're actually literally moving to where I am because he said the environment down there is deteriorating quickly. And they live in a gated community, really nice area. It's like the only nice area in the midst of all the destruction. And he said the breaking point where it was his wife and his daughter was driving in the car down the road. They pull up to a stoplight, and there was a guy walking down the street, and he pulled his junk out and started peeing right there beside him, like right in the middle of the street. So he said that was the breaking point. He's like, we're selling everything, we're leaving. Where's this? Louisiana, New Orleans. Terrible, cannot recommend. That's basically what he said. He said the city has turned into a complete dumpster fire. Never actually been there myself. Happens every time. As soon as I'm share with anyone, one person on here that I'm at profit, that changes quickly. P&L just PF will just hit up 2/3 of it on Q. The city has turned into a complete dumpster fire. Long list. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's accurate. Unfortunately. What's your thoughts on an NDX call credit spread? 23-1. That's expiring on Monday. 23. If you've got the cheddar to play that kind of position. Let's see. When's the July 9th is the tariff deadline? That you're talking about 180 points away on Nasdaq, which can do it in 2 candles. You should be okay, but I mean that's a lot of. You're playing with fire, man, because the way these trends end is with a blow off top, which last week could be a blow off top, but I think all the individual days were too small to really call it a blow off top. Collectively, it was a massive move, but we need really a really holy crap blow off top to get the market shaken out for a rejection. So I think it's a little tight on that. I don't like to test the market on these phases. I've done it before, and I paid a 6-figure price for it. So I wouldn't recommend it, especially on NDX. However, if you know how to manage and adjust, go for it. Take the risk. I'm constantly fighting with my other personality to enter the trade, now accepting applications. Yeah. So I was 3 years ago. I was in this exact situation. The S&P did exactly this price action, like 3-4 days of non-stop trend up green, and I thought it can't go anymore. So let's take a call credit spread with 3 days out of expiration, and let's say 100 points out of the money. Well, guess what happened? It kept on going. Great stuff. Great stuff. Bouncing back up here. Can't really recommend much here. This is just disgusting. Maybe maybe a double bottom there to come back up to 890, 870, possibly on Nasdaq, but trade at your own risk in this crap. I had that same debate over the weekend. I've learned to take the trend until it's, yeah, definitely. What I would rather do is that when you start to see signs of supply, then put on a credit spread. And then you could start out with a credit spread, a call credit spread, and then go into actual active long puts. So when you start to see the signs of selling climax, distribution, that type of thing, then you put on a call credit spread. Don't do it just because, holy crap, this can't go any higher. Have I taken any trades yet? No, sir, I have not. My thesis this week is take as few trades as possible. It's a short holiday week. We're kind of trimming up here at all-time highs. I'm just going to kind of play high-quality entries. And if I don't get any high-quality entries, then guess what? I ain't taking nothing. I ain't taking nothing. So I'm going to wait for high quality pivots. Maybe a couple of scalp longs if PL hits 1330 there, but overall I'm still bearish on PL. And that's it. You know, I'm not really interested in scalping this back and forth crap. Thoughts on when a candle opens and blasts with no wick formed? Statistically, we should come back and do it form the wick. It does create a bit of a vacuum, but what you're talking about there is imbalances. It's a conceptual. It's the concepts of imbalances. When you have an aggressive move being made, whichever time frame you care to analyze on, typically it does want to come back down and fill it, just because of the amount of imbalance there, the amount of explosion on price action, which leaves a void of orders. Probably some chop for a few days. Everyone's either expecting blast up or July big downside. Yep, I'm still in the thesis that the end of July, last week of July, that's when we'll start to see the top wicks come, and then into August. I started doing pull-ups at the gym, and I forgot how much they explode your back. Yep, pull-ups, in my opinion, are the number one best exercise for your back development. That and deadlifts. Pull-ups and deadlifts, baby. Pull-ups, pull-downs. Do it. Do it now. Sorry. Kind of choppy. It's very choppy. Very sore. Love it. You're very welcome, AR. Coming back off again, back and forth. Get out of here. What time is it? It is 10:30 Eastern Time. We are in the chopper. Still 1,000 orders sitting up at 62.45. So I usually buy a significant quantity of fireworks every year. We do like a big show. And I went to buy them this year. And I was jaw dropped at the prices. Literally double what they were last year. No exaggeration. I could not believe it, what they were asking for fireworks. Still coming off. At least you could buy the fun stuff. True. Make your own. I'd love to make my own. I'd love to make my own. They just filled that bottom liquidity, 62.36. Coming back over. Quadruple top here on gold. Let's take a look. Gold's 3,300. Ooh, interesting. Muy interesante. One, two, three, four. Huh. It is a rejection point. They are starting to reject it. If they close below that, you can play down at 32.92. And then, of course, they break that, you can play down. But there you go. Wait for the confirmation. That could be a great entry. Scalp entry, at least. I watched a couple of videos on the intraday drawdown, but I don't understand how that affects my account. Okay. Say you've got a $3,000 drawdown. You can't lose more than $3,000. You make, let's say you put on a trade, you make $2,000 on one trade and you close the trade. Now, you're sitting at a $2,000 balance. Your drawdown is no longer $3,000. Now your drawdown is what? $1,000. Because you've made two. The $3,000 delta is now -1 to up to 2. Get it? That's $3,000. That's the difference. Top Step does the same exact thing, except it's not on the closure of the trade, it's on the end of the day. So whatever you close the day with is what that drawdown moves up to. That's the difference. Yeah, I saw that, but you got to use the new account. So TPT did swap their new accounts to the end of day drawdown, which in my opinion is fantastic. I think that's the trailing drawdown is a downside of TPT, admittedly. But they are fixing that with the pro accounts. That's why the only way to get away with the trailing drawdown is you've got to do proper position sizing. It pretty much ensures that you cannot use big accounts. You cannot. Or big position sizes, because the second you do, you're going to blow it up. As long as you maintain proper position sizing, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. And of course, stops. Do you consider long-term puts here considering the macro? Negative. Not yet. I mean, look at the liquidity. 62.60, they just shifted up here. I do not consider macro. I can't, on a trend like this on the S&P, I cannot look macro bearish until the signs are there. It's very tempting to short this. I get it. But I still think we might have like a week of selling, whatever. I still think they're not going anywhere until we hit all-time highs here. And I still need to see volume, top wick, close lower. 3 criteria for me to want to take a swing put. When this thing drops, there's plenty of time to get into a put. There's an aggressive amount of downside when this thing finally tops. But until then, it's a fool's errand to try to top this thing, to try to short the top. So in my opinion, it'll be roughly 63.20, 6,300 before it does finally put a top in. I also didn't like the trailing. Prefer intraday. There you go. What would confirmation look like on gold? Let's go. So here is let's go to 15. So this is the triple top we're talking about here on gold, right here. Now this would be a micro pivot. We're not talking about anything crazy. It's only going back till 4 o'clock this morning. So we're not talking about a whole crap ton of liquidity, but there is some there. The bigger the liquidity, the more likely I am to front run without confirmation. So if this were like December rejection, March rejection, June's rejection, like then I would look to short it because that is a multi-month, multi-quarter liquidity zone. But this is only going back a couple hours. So because of that, I cannot front run this position. I've got to wait for confirmation, which is top wick, volume, lower close. And then we could play back down to a pivot of 32.90 and change, give or take, whatever this trend line comes out to. So the bigger the liquidity, the less frequently it's been touched, the more aggressive I'm going to play. So here, 33.08, I'd play that one a little more aggressively. That's the overnight high. So you could scalp short 33.07. Where do you see liquidity? I just read it on the book. The book tells me, the price action and volume profile tells me where the liquidity is. If you're seeing constant and frequent rejections at the same exact price, you know there's supply there. They're offering sell orders at that area, so that's liquidity. Trying to be the first one to short. Yep. And don't get me wrong, the time to short is at the highs. You know, the best the brilliant people are shorting the highs, but the question is, where is the high? And most of the time, retail gets that wrong. They try to short too early. So, yes, the time to short is at the highs here, especially when everyone is calling you an idiot for taking shorts, just like everyone called people idiots for taking longs back in April. But that's when you make the most money. But you have to be good at calling those pivots, which is not easy to do. Better off calling it a week and go golfing. Yep. Yep. Negotiations with Canada will begin immediately. GME buying TikTok. That'd be crazy. Look at these bottom wicks in the 15-minute. They're accumulating to go back up. Accumulating to go back up. This is what happened to me on the gold trade last week. Got into aggressive and stopped out, but still got back into the day green. There you go. $62.36. Still top wicking, still chopping back and forth. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Bacon and maple syrup. Filling back down. If they break this, there you go. But yeah. Anyway, choppy crap. So when we copy trade, let's say we have 3 accounts. I would buy, sell 3 contracts, and I'll split those one. On Tradovate, yes, that's one of the things I absolutely hate about Tradovate, is that that's what you have to do. Massive top wick on NASDAQ here, relatively speaking. Failed breakout. ES is filling back down here too. $62.34. Maybe a lower test here. Back and forth. What's gold doing? Gold still holding their 3,300. Still coming down. I know you don't like VWAP, but look at it on NASDAQ. I don't have it on my chart. You have to tell me what the price is. RSS is coming down here. Let's see. I'm using Quantowers. Is it the same for that? I've never copy traded on Quantower, so no, I have used. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yes, you can. So the great thing about Quantower, one of the many great things about Quantower, is yes, you can copy trade, but you could also use proportional copy trading. So let's say you've got a 150K account and a 50K account. You could set the percentages where it'll automatically adjust your position sizing per the account. So if you trade, let's say 5 contracts on the 150, it'll come down and make it like 2 contracts on the 50, on the smaller account. It'll automatically adjust it, which is pretty nice. If you're mix and matching account sizes, that is. It's been a long time since Quantower, though. Wish I could use it again. El Terrible. Are we getting to the point to grab some calls? Just logging in. I mean, they're still holding the lows here. So like I said, I can't really look for a sell-off until I see the signs. And right now, it's a slow holiday chop. So I don't really recommend a lot of trading here. But I can't short anything until I see the signs. And right now, I don't see them. There's not really much volume. Obviously, it's a holiday week. So, yeah, if anything, I would just kind of take it easy until Monday, next Monday. Correct. Yep. Why didn't I use Quantower with my account? Because I'm an idiot. I intend to if I do elect to get a couple more accounts, that's what I'll do. I'll get Quantower. You took a gold short? Nice. Nice. Looking for 92 then 85. Dumb question. That's copy trading used for. Does it allow your FUD? Yes. So if you've got 5 accounts and you short a contract at a particular level, it'll short that same level on all 5 accounts. So you're basically trying to quintuple your profits. My stepbrother is going on a 2-week vacation with his family in Montana this week, and I am super jelly. Super jelly. Oh, so it's not copying you, just replicating the trade across the accounts. Correct. Correct. I'm going to try to calendar then. There you go. ES has taken the prior 4-hour low, and NASDAQ is not. Yeah, it's just a little bit. They're very slight divergence, which makes things a little bit more difficult too. You're right. But remember, you want to trade in high quality conditions, and this is not high quality conditions. We have 1.2 billion in puts, 500 million in sold calls. So they are selling every call here, which is not a bullish environment for options. It's going to be very difficult to rally the market back up with the calls being sold like this. No joke, I'm outside trading. I thought you were a bird for a second. Sorry. Unless I see something interesting, I'll take my profit. No, I think that's a smart move, John. I think that's a smart move. Purple Martin? What's Purple Martin? I've used QT a lot, and you have to be careful with the copy trading. It's buggy with the trailing stops. It'll often add more contracts to a copy account, so when you stop out, you actually end up with hidden stops. Oh, you have to hit the flatten button. I think that's a great point. Thanks, Nathan. Hit the flatten all to kind of make sure you get out of everything. That's a good idea. Alrighty. Options are still being sold, calls bought puts. They're still kind of trickling down. We are in a technical downtrend on the S&P, just very slight. Fed Bostic, we can get inflation to 2% without rate hikes. I don't believe there's need to raise rates. Interesting comments. Why would they even bring that up? Control your risk. That's right. This is not the week to be a hero. Right now, this is not even tradable. No, I mean, there's no point in doing it. High quality setups only. Forget about the money. Develop a process. What does your process tell you right now? The process should tell you there's not much to go on here. Process over profits, baby. Process over profits. And Q and Nasdaq look identical on the 15. Yeah, yeah. There's still liquidity up to 62.60 as well. They still have not filled that guy. Fed Chair Powell speaks manana. We have ISM manufacturing, Joel shop opening 10 o'clock. We have Fed GDP 1300. We have non-farm payroll on Thursday. Interesting. And then, of course, Friday, markets are closed. Gold seems to be grinding on the 1330 or the 3,300. I would not be surprised if it takes it out and goes to overnight high. If it sticks there, then most likely yes, it'll grind up and hit 3308, 3307. That's absorption policy, kind of like CL. CL is doing the same thing. Look, now CL's coming back over. See this daily chart? This is absorption to go lower to 63 on CL. This is boring. I might have to play some Command and Conquer while we're streaming here. I don't know about you all, but our local city Facebook page, someone posted about all the laws about fireworks, and please take into consideration people's pets when shooting off fireworks. And she got freaking roasted. She got roasted. As she should be, yeah. Shoot your fireworks at her pets. Strap that little dog to a rocket, like Toy Story. Peacock, yeah. I think I finally got the peacocks to stay away. I throw rocks at them until they run away, and I think they finally got the picture. No longer have a peacock problem. My dog used to bark and want to destroy the fireworks, not scared, ready to fight. Yeah, yeah. The U.S. consumer is showing more precaution. Yeah, no kidding. You seen prices out there? It's ridiculous. Nasdaq is heading call skew. There he goes. Platinum is still heading lower. See, if you want a short, look at the price action on PL right now. PL, Platinum, is a textbook chart to look at if you want to look for a change of character. Look at the trend that they just put on. Massive, massive green trend. And we essentially called the top here with an obvious pivot. Why do we call that? Multi-year high. That is an area you want to front run a short, not just grinding into new all-time highs. So Platinum comes into this range, rejects the living crap out of it, and all of a sudden, after April until June of just relentless green candles, it goes into sell the top mode, change of character. Just top wick over, top wick over, top wick over, top wick over, nonstop. That's where you want to start really considering downside positions. And once they take out 1333, we're going on down to 1300. 1300. So there you go. And if you want to scalp long at, 1332, cool. But overall, the theme is down. It's a beautiful chart. Beautiful chart. Love it, man. Trading is beautiful. What about some natural gas? I haven't looked at natural gas in a long time, man. Still doing this pretty much, it looks like the same chart as PL. I'm not a big fan of it. Moves too quick. They're 34 down to 2.6. Looks like they're about to shift lower. Every time I look at it, it's down like 10%. Yeah. Yeah, with everything that's been going on, that one's a big mover. I don't like it. I'll tell you what, as bad as the response time was on TPT, couple of weeks ago, Top Step is even worse. Top Step's customer service is dog crap. ES just filled his bottom side liquidity at 62.33. A little bit of a slow bottom tick. What time is it? It is 11:04 Eastern. Oh, man. What y'all got on YouTube? What you think? Potential long opportunity here on Nasdaq if you want to hold it a little bit longer. They took off that big liquidity here on Nasdaq. Very slow. I would not take anything other than a very small position size today. Platinum still coming down here. So I think if anything, if I had to pick any setup across all of this crap right now, it would be gold or platinum. Gold possible short op, PL possible scalp long opportunity. Sellers have been dominating the ES footprint yet. Yeah, it could be a good long sum up. Yep. Thank you. What's up, Dan? Sitting in my hands, honestly, this price action is the worst. Yeah, it's definitely the worst. Look, gold, another top tick here on gold. Possible short entry on gold. What do you think? They are buying back some of the calls and selling back some of the puts on the S&P. Not you, Dan. It's another Dan. I mounted my AR to the wall in my office. It's beautiful. I get to stare at my beautiful weapon all day while I'm trading. Send pics. I'll send you one. I got to mount a lot more, but this is my only one. $32.99. About to pick up a can of things. Nice, yeah. There you go. That's just one. Got a lot more coming. .45 round mag. It's a 30 round mag, but it's not in the weapon. It's mounted to the mount, so it looks longer than it is. Yeah, it's only a 30 round mag. That is a Seekins Precision AR. If you want to see some quality weapons, Seekins Precisions is some fantastic quality. One of the best. Should have known society was going to crap the second they changed the gun emoji to a water gun. Yep. Yep. YouTube show from Australia, kind of funny. Oh, yeah. I wish I could mount mine. Some days I wish the kids aren't so young, maybe. Yeah, my kids are definitely old enough, and they know better. I've raised them around weapons. I've allowed them to handle weapons at a very early age, so they know better. Number one thing is you got to get that curiosity out of them, and you can only do that by letting them touch it. So they know better. They can shoot a weapon anytime they want as long as they ask me. Got to teach them young. That's right. We do the same thing with our kids. Nice. Beautiful. I have 3 under 5. There you go. When my daughter was an infant, like literally 3 months old, I kept one of my ARs in her room because I figured if someone breaks into the house, where's the first place I'm going? Her room. So I'll just keep one in there. And then, of course, once she got big enough to be able to get out of the crib, I took it out, obviously. But have you posted pictures of your new house since you moved in? Not yet, but I will. Once it's all graded and looking nice. Right now, it still kind of looks a little junky right now because we just like last week, it just finally had it graded. I got to put some sod down. I have to get all the last remaining pieces of lumber all cleaned up. But once it's all cleaned up and looking nice, yeah, I'll post some pictures of it. Where's Hero now? Hero is completely rebounding the calls. So they have now purchased back all of the calls that they sold, and they are offloading all of their puts. There you go. I'll show you a picture. However, Mikes, I will tell you, I cannot recommend a Barnum enough. Fantastic decision. I was on the fence about it from the beginning, and then, of course, I gained more confidence in it. Now that I'm actually built it, lived in it, especially with the cost, I can't recommend it enough. It's fantastic. Solid as a rock. We live on the highest hill in the city, and we get a lot of wind. Can't hear a peep, even on the windiest days. Very, very energy efficient. Of course, we did spray foam, but it's amazing. If you like very large ceilings and open concepts, definitely. All right, coming off here, gold selling back off. There's that's my opinion. I think you either need to be trading gold or platinum. Forget about NASDAQ today. And it is coming off. A few years ago, when all the riots were taking place, I put a 410 under my daughter's bed and a 20 gauge under my son's bed. There you go. Nice, Matt. It's beautiful, buddy. Actually, one of my favorite weapons, funnily enough, is a 410, which I never thought that I would say that. I've got a Henry 410 lever action, and it's a beautiful weapon. It's fun to shoot. It's clean. Plus, I love lever actions. I guess I'm a bit of a Westerner at heart. I love lever action weapons. I have so many friends with barn doors, I'm jealous. Half the price. Yep, especially if you do all the work yourself. I did most of the work myself. I saved probably 400 or 500 grand self-contracting and do all the work myself. It's great. I was able to build a huge luxury home for $133 a square foot. That includes, I have a full smart home. I've got home. I have speakers in every room with a Juke audio system. I've got internet everywhere, Wi-Fi router drops. I've got I've got security system around the entire house. I've got cameras everywhere. Large rooms, and I did it all myself. That's great. Taught my daughter how to shoot when she was 9. There you go. That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. Benelli's is a wonderful. Yeah, it is. Yep. Highly recommend. NASDAQ, another top wick. Big old red engulfing candle. Look at that. Large red on ES, relatively large. This volume will be confirmation for a microscalp. Which name? On NASDAQ? GC? Let's take a look. That is a high volume candle. Yeah. Certainly possible. I got the Panzer M4 and it's pretty great for the price. Save the $15, get ammo. There you go. I've got to the point of looking at option pricing. I know it's probably a chop day. That's a great observation, Maddie. Beautiful. The M4 design is super fan. It's really fantastic. It is. That's pretty much it, though. There's not really much to discuss here. Stream's coming to an end. very slow holiday week. I'm sticking to my guns, though, man. Sticking to my guns. I'm trying to trade less than I did last week, unless I see something high confidence. It's a great feeling when you trade less and then pounce on a high quality trade. Tried some cola plant nice water. Really? I don't know what that is. Never heard of that. We've made root beer, homemade root beer, which is pretty great. We have sassafras trees all over the property, so we'll tear up roots, and then you boil the roots in water. You put a little very small teaspoon or quarter teaspoon of beer yeast and sugar, and you make carbonated, all naturally carbonated root beer. It's great. I'm taking it easy this week too. I sold an iron condor for Friday for end of week. Closed the put side this morning. Nice, C-Mill. You're literally sticking to your guns. Yes, correct. Correct. La cola vegetal veritable. Interesting. Looks like I'm going to have to accept my gold scalp as the only trade. Hey, that's a great idea, man. There ain't nothing wrong with that. That's a great idea. You need to relish in the idea that you traded less. Relish it. Relish it. And then mayo it. Yeah. You don't like mayo? Yeah. This gold long may be only good traded at long off 3,300. Nice. Breaking out. High volume bottom wick. Take out the highs. And now we're coming up target 3307. I'm off to Lake Winnipesaukee. Thanks and have a... Oh, nice. You too, Rainey. Have a great week, baby. You can start a clinic with how much you relish in mayo in it. Nice, nice. 3302. Even NASDAQ's bouncing back up. All right, y'all. I'm going to call it a day. This is boring. Gold just put on a high volume bottom wick. They took out the high. I would target 33.07. Going long on crude. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, they're still defending the lows for a nice little scalp there. I mean, they're obvious. It's obvious there's a lot of structure down here in the 64 area, 63 area. No trades for me. Thanks for the stream. See you tomorrow. Nice, Kennedy or Kyle. Have a good week. Hero one last time. Yeah. Hero is 141 million of calls sold, so they're still in called sold territory. 934 million of puts. Zero DT call premium is starting to rise. Yeah, I saw the same thing, Mojo. At least on the purchase side of things. What causes that typically? What causes what? The increase in call premiums? They're starting to purchase them. So that's why the options premiums will kind of tip its hand to market movement. So if you start to see the call premiums start to inflate, usually that means they're starting to buy the calls. The IV is starting to skew towards the calls, and it's going to lift the market. Think about it this way. From a market maker standpoint, if you are a big player and you have sold calls in a market, so you are effectively either neutral on the market or you are bearish on the market, or neither of those, you just want to collect some premium on an inflated market, so you sell calls. What happens when the market starts to buy up a little bit and those premiums start to inflate back up and your deltas start to become more positive? Because if you're short calls, you don't want to see necessarily strong positive deltas. That forces you to start hedging, which means you either have to buy the underlying, which is in this case the S&P, to go long up in the market to hedge, or you have to start longing back into some calls to spread the market a little, to spread your position a little bit. So it causes an environment where buying causes more buying, induces more buying. And it's going to lift the market up. Conversely, on the other side, it applies the same way if you are short puts. So as the market elevates, the premiums on the calls start to elevate. It's going to change your underlying delta at the position and cause you to start buying the hedge. And it goes higher. That's why it's good. If it's good, as much as we talk about VPA, you definitely want to have a handle on the option side of things so you can understand conceptually what's happening underneath the hood. You're welcome, TechnoPig. And it forces short sellers to buy higher and higher. There you go. Yeah. Well, thanks, Mojo. That's why in the biggest squeezes, The biggest squeezes are gamma squeezes because you have short squeezes and you have gamma. Conceptually, there you can think of them kind of the same concept, but they're caused by two different things. And what I just explained is more of a gamma squeeze situation where it induces tons and tons of buying that goes higher and higher and higher. All right, I'm going to call it a day. If you have any questions, Mrs. Owen, the air fryer. Yeah, that thing is the loudest air fryer in history. If you have any questions, hit me up, DM me, Gmail, whatever. Of course, take advantage. I think today is the only day, by the way, that you can do the 40% off on Take Profit Trader. So if you're on the fence about it, you only got one day. Lowest cost of entry, the code OMTPT is the code. So any other questions about the price action? No trades for me today. No major triggers have hit, so I can't really take a trade. Until then, I will see you all bright and early tomorrow morning for another day. If you have the 30% off, would you renew your subscription? That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. I think that if you reuse the code, you lock it in for life, forever. So you might have to sign up another account to get the 40% off, if I had to guess. I don't know that for sure, but if I had to guess. So, TPT requires at least one trade per calendar week. You have to be in trade for at least a minute. There you go. Yeah, so go open up a micro for 1 minute. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So other than that, I will see you all bright and early tomorrow for another fantastic day on a shortened holiday week. I'm out. See you.